Welcome to the recap of the 5th and 6th days of trading this Apex Trader funded account, where I'm trading with Apex's money and keeping most of the profits for myself. I kicked off Thursday with an account balance of $50,043. The liquidation threshold is about $1,700 away, so the current goal is to bring it back to its $2,500 maximum. So this morning's price action creates a nice supply zone where we see multiple rejections, indicating the presence of sellers. Stochastic RSI is overbought, and price is approaching VWAP, so I go short at VWAP at 37.49. It gets a little hairy at first. I even consider closing the trade early for a smaller loss, but I'm trying to keep my emotions out of my trades and not get spooked from price action. Since I'm just scalping, I already know that my max loss is $200, so I shouldn't be afraid to eat it. So I let my trade run, and sellers eventually do step in, and I get a nice $250 win. So for trade 2, I went short again in what I thought was a supply zone. I saw stochastic RSI was overbought, and price had rejected from this level at market open, so I put a limit sell at 37.55. I'm not sure where the sellers went, since price shoots through with no resistance, and I quickly get stopped out for a $200 loss. I'm still positive on the day, which is why I like having a risk-to-reward ratio of above 1-to-1. If I win and lose the same amount, I would still be net positive. And sellers, of course, decide to show up right after I get stopped out. I actually get top ticked with my stop, meaning that the price just touches my stop loss level before dropping back down. This is probably the most tilting thing for any trader. But the same bearish indicators as the last trade still remain, and now I'm seeing more evidence of sellers, so I go short again at 37.5750, and I'm able to redeem myself from the last trade. So for trade 4, I noticed a fair value gap form after a strong rip upwards from a green candle. Basically, this is a price zone with unfilled orders due to a very fast move, where after the move is made, price will tend to be drawn back to fill the gap. So after breaking the high of day, I sensed buyers were gaining momentum, so I expected price to continue upwards after filling the gap. As price continued to consolidate and stochastic RSI started to drop, I felt better about going long at 37.59, the bottom of this fair value gap. So I don't normally take these kinds of trades, so I was a bit inexperienced here. I think I misdrew the fair value gap, so my entry was a little too high. But luckily, price never hit my stop loss, and it did make the bounce I was expecting. I updated my take profit to the top of the updated gap and updated my stop loss accordingly to maintain that 1-to-1 ratio, and I'm able to scalp out for $100. So I drew a demand zone after that large green candlestick form. Stochastic RSI was oversold, and I saw evidence of buyers in the zone. I also felt that buyers still had the momentum, so I went long at VWAP at 37.52. The trade initially goes my way and almost hits my target before dropping back down, and I almost considered closing the trade early for a smaller profit. But as I mentioned earlier, I'm trying to keep my emotions out of my trades and not get too stressed by price action, since I already know what my max loss is. This time, the opposite happens though, and I do end up getting stopped out as price falls through this demand zone. Oddly enough, I actually was glad that I didn't change my profit and loss levels here. It was good practice in staying disciplined and trusting my strategy. My long entry was reasonable given my indicators, and sometimes the trade just doesn't go your way. I had already accepted the maximum risk going into the trade, and so I was totally fine letting it run, even if it ended up being a loss. Price started to push back up to a supply zone, but there was choppiness in between, so I didn't sense buyers being too strong here. Stochastic RSI was also overbought, so I went short at the upper VWAP band at 37.69. After getting filled, I see that there definitely are sellers in the supply zone. Price rejects out of the zone and almost hits my target before pushing back up. Since we're now in a confirmed supply zone, I decide to submit another limit sell further up to average down if price does manage to get up there. Sadly, strong sellers step in just ticks away from my limit sell and pushes price out of the supply zone down to hit my 5-point profit target. A bit unlucky that my second sell didn't get filled, but still happy with the win. I was away from my home trading setup on Friday and ended up just recording my laptop screen, so the format for these next 2 trades is a little different. It was approaching the end of the trading day, and I decided to attempt a risky short at 38.6250, which had been a major resistance level all day. It also coincided with a value area high and was near the edge of a supply zone. I knew it was risky because of all the conflicting indicators. Stochastic RSI was not overbought, and there was hidden bullish divergence on the accumulation distribution line. AD was making higher lows when price was making lower lows. price also just tends to move more violently during the last 10 minutes of trading. So all things considered, this just wasn't a smart entry to go short. Price ends up piercing the supply zone with conviction, and I get stopped out for a loss. This last trade was just some extremely silly after-hours gambling to try to make back some of the loss. I saw stochastic RSI was overbought and went short at 38.65. Since price moves so slowly after hours, I didn't want to be stuck in a trade for too long, so I averaged down at 38.66. Luckily, price does end up falling a bit, and I'm able to scalp out for a small profit. After this trade, I realized how the risk I took with this after-hours trade was just unnecessary. I should always look for a good setup before entering any trade, and after-hours price action is just unreliable. So I decided to not do any more after-hours trading on this account. This video will hopefully hold me accountable to that. I know the usual profit and loss tracker is missing because of the traveling recording setup, but these two Friday trades combined for a total net loss of $78. I had a great trading day on Thursday, and I'm getting better at trusting in my strategy and just letting my trades develop, without adjusting profit and loss levels. Friday's trades were both bad ones that luckily just culminated in a small loss. If I want to consistently grow this account, I can't enter trades with conflicting indicators, and I can't trade after hours anymore. The account is now at $50,391. Haven't fully recovered from the big red day last week, but we're taking more steps in the right direction. As always, thanks for watching. Please leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and subscribe to see if we can get this account to new all-time highs next week.